Okay, this is the 2010 higher level question 1, and a couple of quick things we're going to have a look at before we start. I've already started drawing, but a couple of things that we just kind of need to be careful of here. Previous two drawings, we were able to draw almost all of each view one at a time. This one is not like that. This one you have to take pieces and bits of drawing from each drawing in order to complete the other view. So that's just something we need to be careful of. Where are the problems? Well, first of all, we have this cylinder, and that cylinder is fine. It's running the whole way down, but then it hits a sloped surface here. Where it hits the sloped surface, it changes the shape that we see in elevation looking in the direction of our away. It changes it into an ellipse. So that's something we just need to be careful of. But then we know how to do this. We've done this in other questions. Divide up the plan into 30s and 60s and carry your lines around, and we'll do that in a few minutes. These edges here, okay, if we look in an elevation, we can step in 12 and we can step up 35 and we can step in a further 18. That edge in elevation appears as a straight line, okay, but what we don't, and in plan, this surface S, when you look down on top of it, that edge appears as a straight line. What we're not given is where those two surfaces intersect, okay? So you can't just guess where that line runs down there. We're not given a measurement. And when you're not given a measurement, you have to locate the point. And to locate the point in this case, it's found in the plan. We can draw that line in 12, draw the plan of what we see of surface S, and continue that line across until it coincides with that, and then we can carry our point around the views. So I started off with this. We're looking in the direction of arrow A. We're looking then for the end view in the direction of arrow B, which means our end view is on the right hand side. So I've already started it off, and all I've really done is take the dimensions that are on the drawing. I haven't had to do any constructions or anything difficult here. I've just set up my elevation. I come down a space and I've set up my plan. I drew my plan line across, and where it intersected where I was going to draw my end view, I drew my 45-degree line through it. My end view here, that's all the information, all the sizes you're given regarding the end view. I haven't been able to draw that line in here because I don't know where. It goes from there to somewhere here. I'm not sure where it is. But that's an end view, almost complete, all except one line. Right, so I can't draw that one line until I locate that point there. One thing I had to do was I was given a measurement up to here, which was a 35 and a 55, and then I was told that it was a 45-degree angle in here and in here. So I had to draw my 45 and my 45, and that located my ridge, the top of my roof. And then my cone. I told the cone, that's the cone that sits on top of the cylinder, and this is the cylindrical piece here. I was told that it was a radius 20, which means it's 40 from there to there, and that the cone is 45 as well. So 45 there, 45 there, and that gave me a point up the top here. So I have all my measurements marked out here. Like in my elevation, I have a 12, an 18, a 16, a 20, which brings me to the center of my cylinder, another 20, and then from here to here should be 54. So when I had my elevation drawn, I could carry all my lines down. And now that I have my 45-degree line, I can carry all my lines down and across. Now I have a whole grid of lines, but if you do that lightly and get all your measurements down, first of all, there's a lot of marks for setting up the drawing in the correct position, but get all those measurements in now, and then you can actually just start figuring out what goes where. So I'm going to jump into the elevation here and have a look. When I look in at the front, along this side here, that edge there is actually, that line there is actually that whole surface, okay? So if I carry my line, which is the top of my gable, across, that means that from there to there is a straight line. That line I've just drawn is that whole edge there, because I'm looking in there and I see that. Okay. The next thing I'm going to try and draw and see is, well, on the right hand side, that line there is the back, the other side of that gable end, and that goes the whole way up there like that. Now those gables, or that gable, is going to go from this side to this side. But I don't want to heavy that in just yet, because there's a tower sticking up in the middle, and I'm just not sure whether I'm running into the edge of the tower into the cone. It looks like it's going into the edge of the cone, which means that line will be stepped in there a little bit. So on my cone, and my cone is 108 above the baseline, okay, which is to here. If I go at 45 there, and I go at 45 there, okay, well, that gives me how far my ridge runs into the side of the cone. And of course it runs behind it, and we'll show that hidden detail later on. Now, that's the top of the cone that sits on top of my cylinder. My cylinder runs the whole way down, and it runs down as far as this line here. So I can draw my cylinder in place there to there. Now that's either end, which would be either end of my ellipse, and then there's another point down here. So that's going to curve down there. Because it's sitting on run into a sloped surface, it's going to go down there and back up the other side, something like that. So we'll be locating those points in a few minutes. Now, a lot of kind of little details and things to be added in here. Well, first of all, we have beside this here, we have a rectangle here, and it's over 16, and it runs up to the same height here, and that's the bottom of, that's there, that point there. So there's a little rectangular, it's actually that edge there, that when we look back in there, we're going to see that rectangle there. So I'm going to draw that in. That line is that edge there, and that's the bottom of my gable, and then that rectangle goes in there like that, and like that. Okay. Now I have here a line that goes from here to here out 12. So there's a lot of surfaces here that are disappearing into lines and things like that. We just need to keep an eye on. So that line goes across there like that, and actually that line there runs across there. Now remember, I'm still going to have my elliptical shape here where the cylinder runs down into that slope line. So that's surface S. Okay, that is the rectangle there. That is, when I look in my direction of arrow A, I see that rectangle just to the left of the cylinder, and it's actually that line there. That edge, that whole surface has turned into a line, as has, if I look in my end view, that edge there is actually all that surface along here that the cone, or that the cylinder, runs down into. So that slope line is that area there of the cone. So it's that area that the cone runs down into. Okay, so let's have a look and see what else we have there. So my elevation, all my elevation is missing now. Sorry, I left a line out there. All my elevation is missing now is actually that little bit of detail there that comes the whole way down around there. Is that bit of a cone there, or is that bit of an ellipse there? Okay, and we're going to come to draw that in a few minutes. Now, into my plan. And what have we got in plan? So, I have a line across the back of my plan there like that. and I have a line that runs all the way around on this side here. Now, that line there is here, that point there is there, and that point here in plan is here in end view, and it runs from here to here, which is my over 42. If you look in the direction of arrow B, it's that measurement over 42. So I can draw that line in heavy. Okay, now right across the top there is the top of the ridge, is the top of that roof, and that runs the whole way along there like that. Okay, and then running the whole way along here is that edge of the roof runs down into that level. So that line there is here, running the whole way along there like that. Okay, so in plan I have a line that runs the whole way along here and stops just 12 short of the end like that, and then it runs in, but I'm not sure how far it runs in yet because I haven't drawn that surface there. So in order to get that surface, if I come in my 30, which is that line there, and I come in my 22, which is to here, so 30 to 22, that gives me that surface. This line that I'm drawing is actually an edge view of S. Okay, an edge view of S, and then what happens is it comes back out here and it comes across and it runs into the edge of my circle, which I have yet to draw in. Okay, now there's one other line there, and it's that line that goes from the corner there to there, and then my 12 line, I can get that point there now. I can get that point exactly by running in my line to here. Now that point where the two of them intersect will allow me to draw that line in end view, so I can bring that across and I can bring that up, and now that'll let me draw that line exactly without having to guess it. You need to be able to get there's no marks for guessing, so we need to be able to find the exact point. So that's S is actually that line there. Okay, now last thing I'm going to do here is in my plan I'm going to draw my circle. So I put my point here, that's in 20, and there's the center of it the whole way down. I've set my compass and I'm going to draw my circle. Okay, so if I just want to finish off that, what I'm going to do is divide up my circle into my 30s and my 60s, and I don't actually need to do the whole lot of it. I can get away with just doing the back of it, or sorry, the front of it, because I don't see anything in behind. Now what I can do is write in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I want to see where 0 is in my elevation, if I carry that 0 up, there is 0 there. And where is the 6? There is 6 there. And where is the 3? There is 3. Okay, so I'm going to pause this now. I'm going to set up another video and we will complete the elevation and the ellipse in the next video.